Hey everybody, this is Tracy here to recap episode 4 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And this episode is entitled Another Spin Around the Block. So the show opens up with Cynthia and Noelle, pretending like they are playing tennis. But, I think good mother-daughter bonding time, can never go wrong with that. And so we find out that Noelle is ready to go to college and she is thinking about going to school out west in California. And Cynthia doesn't seem to be too happy about that. She may have some separation issues. And so, she's talking about finding her a place in California, but I say, let the kids go off and explore and have this adventure and get the full effect of being away from home. So, Cynthia, chill out. So Cynthia lets us know that she has a new product line that she's about to launch, and it's called Cargo Bags, and it's a line of I think like leather purses and backpacks and maybe luggage. And so she wants Noelle to be the face of the product. One thing about these ladies, they will brand their children. So she wants, to expose Noelle, to the world of fashion and everything. And she said something about Noelle was interested in modeling, but Noelle wasn't as tall as she is. And that there was a scene later on where they were standing next to each other, and I really did not realize either Cynthia is very, very tall or Noelle is indeed much shorter than her mom and her dad. So later on, they were out in LA and they're getting ready to do like a media promotional type thing to reveal Noelle as the brand of the company. And so, Noelle is being a typical teenager and, she's trying to get her phone and she's worried about, pictures and hanging out. Whereas Cynthia's like, you need to be down to business. You need to have this down packed because there's going to be a lot of media there, a lot of bloggers. And so we want to give a good first impression. And so, like I say, Noelle was being a teen. She was like, whatever, I got this, mom. Stop worrying it. I'm gonna win this for you. And one other thing, Noelle was saying something about she wanted a new boo. I have no idea what that is, and I guess I should have Googled it before I did this review. But anyway, Noelle isn't focused on the cargo bag product. She's focused on whatever a new boo or no boo is, and she told Cynthia that that's what she wants as her reward for doing this job for her. So they're at the media event, and Cynthia announces Noelle as the face of Cargo, and they reveal the ad, and Noelle looks really beautiful in the ad. Definitely following after her mother, and can definitely do print modeling if it came down to it. And throughout this scene where they're talking about being in LA and Leon was there, and Cynthia's talking about getting Noelle into the fashion business. She kept mentioning moving to LA. She was thinking about buying a house, and so I think it's more than Noelle going off to college and her wanting to be close to her. Cynthia may have some plans of her own, which may include leaving the Real Housewives Atlanta franchise and doing something different, because I think she's really her role on the show has probably come to an end anyway, especially with her and Peter getting a divorce. So another interesting part of the scene when they were out in California, like I mentioned, Leon joined them. As Cynthia, Leon, and Noelle, they just seem like such a happy family. And and Leon, he's sexy as hell. I don't know what happened between those two that they didn't work out. But, Noelle's talking about she needs to leave for a concert. And so she leaves Cynthia and her dad alone. And, Cynthia is just being really raw with Leon and exposing her feelings. And then there was a part where she started crying. And at one point, she ripped off her eyelashes. I'm thinking that, girl, if you can cry and tear off your eyelashes in front of a man, that's probably the man you need to be with, that you need to call your husband. Because I'm sure she did that in front of Peter. Peter probably was been looking at her like she was crazy. So one of the things she did share with Leon in this little tender moment is that one of her biggest fears is that when her and Peter divorce, that she and Peter won't have the same friendship as her and Leon have. And I'm thinking, well, you and Leon probably have that relationship because you guys have a daughter and you've made a conscious decision to be co-parents, whereas you don't have that same connection with Peter. And, I'm thinking, like, why do you want to hold on and be all best friends with your ex anyway? It's okay to, like, be, hey, how you doing and being cordial, but we don't need to be best friends if we don't have anything in common like a child. So Cynthia, get over that and get on with your life, girl. Also, in the conversation between Cynthia and Leon, he pretty much lets her know that he didn't think that her and Peter's marriage was going to work. And I'm thinking, well, fine time for you to be letting the girl know. But Cynthia does admit that she only went through with marrying Peter because she wanted to prove everybody wrong. All her friends and Nene, everybody was saying that it wasn't a good idea, but she wanted to show them up. But I guess they showed her because now she's put herself through all this nonsense and ended up getting divorced anyway. And so there was a little bit of flirting going on between Cynthia and Leon, which I liked a lot. But their time probably has come, and we're just wishful thinking that the two of them will end up together. But hey, if he's single and she's single, it's never too late. So next up we have Sheree, and when she comes into the scene, she's with her kids, her two youngest kids, Cairo and can't remember the girl's name, Kiana, I don't know. But anyway, she's telling them that Chateau Sheree will be ready to move in about this much time. And that, she's really excited. And so, Carol lets her know that, he's leaving for Morehouse in the fall, which I guess they were filming this in the spring. And so he's going to be moving into an apartment close to camp. And then she lets him know that, she understands that, but, he'll always have a home there with her. And so the little girl, she brings up, why can't my dad move in with us? And so, Sheree's trying to explain to her that a lot has happened between her and Bob and that might not be a possibility. But the little girl basically was like, it's better to be with the devil that you know than the one you might meet out there. It might be worse than the one that you already have. And so, Sheree pretty much says that one thing that's keeping her from going back to Bob is the fact that he never apologized for, cheating on her and having women in her house. And so I think if Sheree gets that apology, she might be open to another Sheree and Bob Whitfield marriage. So speaking of Bob, the two of them go out to dinner, and Sheree, she's all dressed up in her sexy red dress, and she's thinking that Bob's about to take her to a really nice restaurant, but he ends up taking her to some look like a little Chinese diner. It's like I think it was a vegan Chinese diner. That doesn't even sound appetizing, but anyway, Sheree goes along with it, like, okay, you done got me 2 times now. And so as they're sitting there talking, and Bob is trying to break the ice, and he's, joking around with her, and she's like, why can't you ever be serious? And then she brings up the fact that she wants an apology. And so Bob, he wasn't making eye contact. He was looking over here and over there and up here and down there and everywhere. But he did eventually apologize and tell her that he was sorry for, everything he had done to her, for bringing women into the house. So everything that she wanted him to apologize for, he did eventually apologize. And I think he was sincere about it. I think it took a lot for him to do it, and he thought that he could string Sheree along. But, Sheree means business, and I think he understands that, up until the point where they decided to go somewhere else to eat because the food was nasty. Vegan Chinese, what do you expect? And so they were getting ready to leave, and then he starts talking about the sparkling shimmery stuff she had on her boobs. And I really hate when a man, I don't care if we have been intimate before, but I can't stand when a man cannot stop talking about my body or wanting to go to bed with me. I just think that is so rude and disrespectful. And I don't know if it turned Sheree off, but it definitely was turning me off. And so, Bob, you lose 2 points for that. So next we move on to Candy, and Candy and Ace are over at Mama Joyce's house, and Candy has Ace in this rocker. It's been a long time. My baby's 23 years old, so they, technology has improved, the sitter and the rockers and all that stuff. But that contraption that Candy had Ace in, I thought that was really cute. So if somebody I know has a baby and invites me to the baby shower, I think I'm going to go find one of those rockers to buy for them. And so, and Ace, he's so cute. So he's on the kitchen counter, floating in this contraption that they have him in. And so Candy shares with Mama Joyce about Chris Kelly coming to visit. And so Mama Joyce, she's all about the child support and getting it by any means necessary. She tells Candy that she should call call Block and tell him that she wants her money by lien, license, or cash, meaning I can put a lien on your house, I can have your license suspended, or you can bring me my check. And so Candy's talking about when she's doing radio interviews and the subject comes up, and Mama Joy says that the next time she's on the radio or that Block is on the radio and talking about he's a good dad, that Candy should call in and say, you don't pay no child support. And I was just like, and Mama Joyce would do that because she is so ratchet at times. So as their conversation was wrapping up, and Candy, she kind of wanted to change the subject, when Mama Joy started telling her, that she's too nice and she's letting Block get away with it. And Mama Joy, she pulled out a Miss Silly move and she said that Candy should tell Block, ain't nothing good gonna happen to you until you do right by my granddaughter. And I was just like, Miss Joyce, stop. Just stop, okay? So then we move on to Phaedra and Kenya, and they meet at, looks like it was like I call it a tea bar, but it's like a little diner where they sell mainly different types of teas, but they have little pastries and muffins and things like that. And so Kenya, she's still taking jabs in her confessionals, and then, she can't get serious about anything. And as her and Phaedra are there, she's throwing shade and making little wise cracks and everything. And it's like at some point, you gotta just get over that. Like that can't be your whole purpose of being on the show, although Kenya seems to think that it is. And so she brings up the fact that she was disappointed that when they went to the escape adventure, that Portia didn't talk about her anger management. And so Phaedra was like, well, she wasn't there to talk about it. It was an opportunity for us all to be together. And she said the fact that Portia was on the team with Kenya and Cynthia, and nothing happened, it should be proof to Kenya that Portia is doing much better. But for some reason, I guess Kenya thought she deserved a play-by-play detail of everything that Portia's talked about in her counseling sessions and what the therapist has said. But, Phaedra let her know that that wasn't going to happen. And so the reason that, and then the other thing that Phaedra brought up was the fact that Kenya was so disrespectful to Sheree at the escape adventure, calling her a bitch and a hoe and all of that, and said, are you going to apologize? And Kenya swears that she didn't call Sheree a bitch or a hoe. So I don't know. Maybe Kenya has the onset of Alzheimer's or dementia that she can't remember, when she's cussing people out and being disrespectful. But, that's how she wants to play it. And so Phaedra moves the conversation on to business. And the reason she's called Kenya to lunch is that she wants to do a fundraiser to have a overnight camp in Flint, Michigan. And I guess for the kids who are impacted by the water crisis, because, they don't talk about it as much in the news anymore, but, Flint is still dealing with the contaminated water. So Kenya said, of course, she'd be willing to help out, and that she wanted to do some type of session with the little girls, to teach them how to act like ladies in public. And I'm thinking, before you can teach somebody's child how to act in public, you need to learn how to act in public, going around, cursing people out, calling people names and everything. Like, is Kenya really a good example of a role model to be teaching somebody kids about how to act like a lady? I mean, the way she carries on this show. But I'm just like, girl, whatever. So all the ladies end up later on in the show, they meet up to do laser tag. And this is Phaedra's opportunity to get everybody together and to let them know, about her plan. She wants to do I think the fundraiser is going to be in Atlanta to raise money for the actual camp. And so, all the ladies are there, and I think everybody was there except for Cynthia because she's in LA with Noelle. And then we had Lena and Mel come in, and I couldn't figure out why Mel was there or the fact that Mel showed up with Kenya, but, we're going to go along with it. And so they all, they go in for the laser tag. They seem to be having fun, but they the editing focused mostly on Sheree running Kenya down and shooting Kenya, throughout the whole time they were there. And I'm thinking Sheree probably was wishing those were some real bullets so she can get rid of Kenya more for good. But that's pretty much all that they showed in the laser tag was the two of them and Kenya running from her. And was like, why did Sheree keep chasing after me? Every time I turn around, there she is. To my bam, 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 bam. And I'm thinking, because she wants to get rid of you. So the idea for the fundraiser is that all the ladies, they would do like a pop-up shop and everybody would sell their products at this pop-up. And so I think when Phaedra got to Candy, she told Candy that she could sell her sex toys, and then Portia was in the confessional like, okay, we're gonna be selling penises to raise money for the kids. And I kind of agree with that because I think Portia, maybe this would have been a good idea, a good opportunity for Candy to reveal the new baby line that she has for Ace. I'm not too sure about the Candy Coated Nights products that she would be selling at this pop-up. I think that might be a little indecent. So as the ladies are sitting around and they're discussing the details of the pop-up shop and trying to get everything, laid out, the bickering begins between Sheree and Kenya. And it went on and on and on and on. And I'm just like, oh my God, is there ever a moment when they're not going to be fighting? Well, Kenya decides to say to Sheree something about you have on that wore out Mama Joyce wig or something like that. And Candy was like, pump your brakes. Keep my mama name out of your mouth. You're not going to be sitting here talking about my mom like I'm not sitting here. And so I don't know if Kenya didn't realize that Candy was sitting there, or if she just didn't care that Candy was sitting there. But, she apologized and said she wasn't really talking about Mama Joyce. And then she jumped back on Sheree again. And then finally, Phaedra stepped in and was like, can we get back to the real reason that we're here and leave this pettiness behind us? This is an important cause and we got to be grown women about it. So can everybody work together to make this happen? Because if not, then you're not going to be a part of it. So they bring it down, everybody calm down and say that, they are on board and that they will behave themselves. So the last part of the show was we have Candy and Mama Joyce, and they were hanging out together. And Candy had on a real pretty dress. She looked really, really nice in this last scene. And so Mama Joyce lets us know that she's discovered her liquid courage and that she's become addicted to Moscato wine. So Mama Joyce, you've probably been drinking wine all along. That's why you don't mind speaking your mind. But, she's so crazy. She says that, the wine helps her relax and say what she's really thinking. So, while they're talking about that, Candy's phone ring and it is Block. And so he wants to talk about Riley and for them to start co-parenting. Now, keep in mind that Riley's 13 years old, but now he wants to co-parent. So then Mama Joyce is like, ask him where is the $50,000 in back child support that he owes you. And so I'm thinking, Mama Joyce, as funny as you are, you really need to stay out of it and let Candy, deal with this guy. So Candy, she tells him that, it's too late for him to be talking about co-parenting because of Riley's age. But I disagree with that because I don't think you ever stop co-parenting. As long as your child is alive, I think that some co-parenting is going to be going on. Whether, Riley goes to college, you're going to be wanting to help with the expenses. There may be opportunities where y'all go to the college together. And so I don't think it's too late to start co-parenting and building a relationship with him and Riley. So, Candy, you're going to have to forget about that part. And so somehow the conversation went left because Block said that he wasn't going to be chasing Candy and Riley, to build this relationship. And then Candy went from 0 to 60 in like half a second because she got real emotional, started crying and screaming and yelling about, you should want to chase after my child. And so Block said the wrong thing at that moment. But, hopefully Candy will calm down and, the two of them will eventually be able to sit down and work it out for the sake of Riley. So that's pretty much how the show ended. Candy was like in full blown attack mode, and she finally had to like take a deep breath and pull herself together so that her and Mama Joyce can go to dinner or wherever it was that they were headed to. So, I hate that Candy is going through this with Riley, and men, like I've said before, they need to step up to the plate and be dads to their kids. It's really that simple. So that's really all that I have for this episode. It was kind of pretty uneventful. I liked the part with Cynthia and Leon and Noelle, but for the most part, it was, the typical drama that's going on in the show. And so my question for this week's episode is, do you think there will be resolution between Candy and Block for them to work things out and for him to be an active member in Riley's life? And also, why do you think all of a sudden Block is trying to be in Riley's life? Is it just to collect a paycheck from the show? So leave your comments below and let me know what you think, and also rate the video, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel, and I will have the review for Married to Medicine and Insecure up in a little bit. So until next time, have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.